Mr Deputy President, I rise tonight to alert the House to the political trickery occurring less than 100 kilometres from this chamber in the Blue Mountains.
Shame.
As members may be aware, I'm now a resident of the Blue Mountains, just living near Katoomba, and so I've taken a renewed interest in the happenings of the Blue Mountains. The Blue Mountains was, of course, the political base of that rascal of New South Wales politics, Sir Henry Parkes, and indeed his grave is at Falconbridge. In Henry Parkes' day, he would get away with saying one thing in his electorate and behaving differently here at Macquarie Street. But he wouldn't get away with it today with our modern media, or would he? Certainly Labor hoped to get away with saying one thing in the Blue Mountains and supporting the opposite position here in Macquarie Street. Mr Deputy President, my attention was drawn to the local paper in the Blue Mountains Gazette, where residents were recently confronted on the cover by the staged, angry faces of the state and federal Labor members.
Point of order.
Yes, Mr Jeremy Buckingham.
Standing orders preclude members from reading newspapers during debate, and the Honourable Scott Farlow is clearly reading what I believe to be a newspaper. It may well be the Blue Mountains Gazette, and it is out of order.
I don't actually think he was reading. I think actually he was using it as a prop. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr Deputy President. As I was saying, why are they staging an angry pick-up? Of course, they are so-called opposed to the new airport for Western Sydney at Badgerys Creek. And of course, they are campaigning against the airport and the local community, but their party, as we know, both at state and federal level, is fully behind the airport, and I pat them on the back for that. In politics, telling the local community one thing but doing something different is called virtue signalling, and is intended to soften the local political fallout of a controversial issue, and one that is supported by the head office. So when the member for Blue Mountains and the federal member signal to the community that they oppose the airport, but at Macquarie Street or in Canberra have the opposite view, towing Labor's official policy, they hope, fingers crossed, as did old Henry Parkes, that they won't get caught out for their double standards. But they've been caught out tonight here, Mr Deputy President. Adding to this local deceit, the Blue Mountains Council Labor Mayor has done his best to beat up a scare campaign on the Badgerys Creek Airport. This, of course, is in support of Labor's smoke and mirrors of politics in the area. This is a council who, despite their enormous debt, have continued to pour ratepayers' dollars into their faux political campaign against a job and investment-generating airport. The Labor-run Blue Mountains Council, despite being $44 million in debt, has made some very questionable decisions when it comes to spending ratepayers' funds. The council has spent $130,000 organising opposition to an airport at Badgerys Creek, with a massive splurge in spending in the last 14 months, coinciding with the council and federal elections, in fact. This has included spending over $35,000 on flyers, signs and videos promoting their anti-airport stance, and over $16,000 at least on public meeting as a political platform to oppose the airport. While this Labor-led council has continued to squander the money of their ratepayers to help pay for this, they have also imposed a massive rate rise on their residents. While the standard rate rise for New South Wales councils is 1.8% last year, Blue Mountains Council increased their rates by 9.6%. In spite of the local Labor's so-called opposition to this airport, Labor has endorsed the selection of Badgerys Creek as a site of Sydney's airport, starting with the Hawke government back in 1986. Additionally, federal opposition leader Bill Shorten and Shadow Minister of Infrastructure Anthony Albanese and New South Wales opposition leader Luke Foley all strongly support Badgerys Creek Airport. Mr Shorten has continually reaffirmed his support for a second airport, stating, and I quote, "I support Badgerys Creek Airport. I think it would generate jobs." And while New South Wales opposition leader Luke Foley has said that an airport at Badgerys Creek will be, quote, "Western Sydney's greatest job generator." Labor in the mountains has continually brushed aside the considerable benefits that this airport will bring to the Blue Mountains by falsely citing environmental impacts. However, the recent EIS specifically addressed the impacts on World Heritage status of the Blue Mountains and said it would not be compromised, nor should it be. We all agree with that. But the Blue Mountains Labor continues their scare campaign to oppose a substantial infrastructure project that could work to alleviate the debts of the Blue Mountains Council and bring economic growth, prosperity and jobs to the mountains region. Furthermore, and important to the Blue Mountains, this airport will enhance the tourism industry and local arts and culture sectors, as it will bring plane loads of new tourists to the region and create a hub for business travellers and tourists alike. So today I call out the double standards of Labor in the Blue Mountains at local, state and federal level, and I call upon the Labor Party in the Blue Mountains to be honest and open with the residents, and for Labor here in Macquarie Street to call a halt to their tricky politics and work openly and honestly with the local community to maximise the benefits and opportunities the new airport at Badgerys Creek will bring to the region, including the Blue Mountains.
The Honourable Penny Sharp.